Kia ora, everybody. Yssah and I are reconnecting once again between Aotearoa and Mexico, Yssah having recently returned from Egypt. And on our Sunday morning tea chat, it proves that we're coming into similar ground that we left off on our last meeting. So it felt important to record this and share it with those that are interested to continue with us on this journey. And we started the journey this morning with Yssah sharing her experience of what she's been experiencing on the American continent since she returned home. And as she was sharing this, I was tracking and realizing it's not affecting the rest of the planet, but it's just affecting the Americas, North, Central, and South. And when I realized that, I connected with a recent experience from Olga, who's one of the hosts of Guardians of Gaia, what she'd been experiencing in South America that I hadn't. And from this, we realized that there was interference with the cube down in Antarctica that came online with the last eclipse window. So welcome to join us again for tea this morning, and we will continue from that space as we're tapping into the cube, having just cleared the interference above and in inner earth around the cube. We're getting shown into the connections there with Theia, our moon, and what is what I see as a mirror image to the moon, and what Yssah's seeing as a blue diamond down there in Antarctica.
As you're saying, it's related, these blue crystals, because it's not, well, in the beginning it was one crystal, but then again it fractalized into several crystals as a mirror precisely to what happened to Theia, because everything, it goes at scale. And we know that all this, the wisest way to archive information, when it's very delicate information, it was stored in crystals. So let's say that in relation to what is happening currently in the moon, as how the moon is, there are specific anchors, and these crystals precisely help to restore, to remove those anchors, because those blue crystals were turned into devices. Remember that I was telling you, like, this crystals as devices. So these devices have an effect on those anchors because it's the pure information, the pure plasma information of Theia contained. So, and of course, you're not going to put directly the plasma to some anchors that are generating alter effects. Yet the device generates a space, as sort of a vacuum that allows, because those anchors were placed precisely in very specific points in the moon that are interconnected directly to Theia, to the Theia's plates in South Africa. So now, in relation to what you were saying in the beginning of how after the eclipse, there have been a specific, or there were specific manifestations, energetic manifestations of how the relation, the correlation in between the sun and the moon, how they were interacting by coming from day to night, This is a reflection of how it is also being manifested through the melatonin function in between the pineal gland and in the mitochondrion. Because I also have been listening, and this is not only, well, before going there, because then that's worldwide speaking, but there is a correlation, big correlation in between the transit in between day and night, because it's also related to the energy and how we handle our energy and our circadian system. So this what we were seeing, what you perceived that was happening only in America, and then like of course, like for the ones that have been in resonance with our transmissions, and also with all the information about the cubes, you know, like the 7 cubes unfolding from 2023 all the way to 2030, 7 cubes, 7 years. And last year it was the cube in the Yucatan Peninsula, related to all the to the Mayan matrix, what the Mayans harvested in that cube, as all that matrix, as all that information, and that now is being directed to the Bermuda Triangle and to the pyramid in between, like undersea pyramid, in between the Yucatan Peninsula and the island, the island, the island of Cuba. I was going to say to the island of Cube, but no, too many cubes.
It's, you know, it's really interesting you're mentioning these, because 2 weekends ago, I was taken out to the west coast of Aotearoa to a site referred to as Maunganui Bluff, the big mountain bluff. And it's the site of an ancient stone circle here in Aotearoa. That's the stones have been pushed down and they're all covered in grass right now. But we were out there, I was out there with a sister 2 weeks ago today, and it was fascinating the work that went through, because that stone circle obviously connects through to Stonehenge. It also connects through to Rennes-le-Château in south of France. And there were 4 cycles of work to do with that site as it was reconnecting and recalibrating with the rest of the planet. And the 4th lot of work was all underwater in the Atlantic.
Okay.
And it was connected with the pyramids in the Atlantic Trench, and everything that had been submerged all the way really from the Arctic down to Antarctica. Yeah,
of course. Well, because all those gateways, all those 12 portals that were the ones that are, for instance, let's say, like, even if as the Hebrew alphabet, you know, like how it was encoded, it's 3 for the primordial mothers, 7 for the doubles, 12 for the ones that commune with those doubles. I'm talking about the letters, how they organize, like 3, then 7, then 12. So then we have the 7 and the 12. And then we have the 7 cubes and the 12 triangular portals, like the Bermuda Triangle, the Dragon Triangle, or the Devil's Triangle in Japan. And another one by all the area of Aqabat, the Gulf of Aqabat, you know, where there is like nearby Sina and all of that. There is another one by nearby Australia. There is another, like, actually it's simpler to say it that way, to express it this way. Like, all the triangles are aligned above the equator. It's 72 degrees, and below 72 degrees as well, and in between each other there is like the same distance in between one another. So there are five And then we have the other two, which is North Pole, South Pole. So let's say that that was by the fall of Atlantis. So those were like, before the fall of Atlantis, they were aligned to the pyramidal grid. Fall of Atlantis happens, and all these portals, instead of raising the frequency, they start to bring in a lot of other kind of energy, to say it somehow. So, and then all the level of consciousness of the human started to go down, 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 down. So that's why all these cubes were planted as, let's say, as safeguards, as matrices, for, because knowing that that would happen. So those serve the purpose of archiving all the information, and then they come together as one cube. And then that's, if something happens to the earth, then that is raised above for other consciousnesses. When they ask, what happened to this planet? Okay, now they access to that matrix of all that happened to in earth, you know, like the sum of those. So why would the cubes would be opening right now? Because we are in a moment where we are capable to rewrite the story. No need to propel that eighth cube. And, you know, we have the capability to rewrite the story, and this is what's happening. And this is what happened precisely on the 3rd of May, when the sun dropped until point one, after what we were doing in the pyramid that I was telling you. And then the eclipse releasing the Antarctica cube. And yeah, then what we were turning into. You want to say something?
Yeah, you know, it's interesting because on the Guardians of Gaia gathering, we had the day before the eclipse, we were guided to rewrite the creation story, to write a new creation story for the earth. And we went on a journey to do that, to open the pathways so that they were prepared for what came through on the actual eclipse, which was really extraordinary. It was a very powerful journey for anybody who is watching this call, who wishes to receive the codes of the new creation story. They're in that Guardians of Gaia gathering of the eclipse. And really fascinating was, since the eclipse, the emergency department in my ICU of metaphysicality has been very busy. And there is a lot of dissolution of timelines, which is leaving people kind of like a feeling of being in a washing machine where up and down are roughly there, but there's no solid landmarks for them to grip to, which again is supporting people to do the next level of their personal work so that they can come into their integral self-sourcing sovereignty, come into alignment, physical, mental, emotional, with the physical body, and anchor through that physical body into the planet from a space of sovereignty. And it's quite extraordinary how it's happening. And people are feeling that impact, whether they are new to their journey or have been on it a long time. It's
Yes.
like the old bearings, the old markers have been scrambled. And it's exciting and it's challenging for people. And I found one interesting dissolution. While the journey to Antarctica in the beginning of 2025 is still standing strong, the other journey that I was being guided to facilitate to Raja Ampat in the Indonesian archipelago in beginning of October has dissolved. What was on track for that happened, was resolved during the shift, and it's no longer required. And that's been interesting.
Yes. It's like all those configurations and restorings are happening in a very subtle form, and then manifesting in the reality. as the as two realms, to say it somehow, two windows of reality, or two universes that are simultaneously already, they have created already, they have been living all this way long, from alternate and simultaneous realities coexisting. So now that they are brought here, it's like they were harvesting, like if plan A, B, C, D happens. Okay, so it was like, okay, you came in, and now this trying, like not trying, but aligning to what is going on here. So it's like when you splash the water, and then the waves continue to expand. Well, the frequency of this reality is so elevated that, of course, those waves are going to generate impact, as what we were saying, this shadow, because what happens? How can you be aware that there is light? It's But I'm talking, yeah, of course, it's like a rhetorical question, but the thing is that I want to explain it through colors. How do you, like, if you have a relief, like a surface just in one color, it's just a bidimensional thing. How are you going to acknowledge that there is a form or a shape coming outside from that wall? Through shadow. So that's how the light anchors in this reality, through the shadow. Otherwise, it wouldn't even, reflect in anything. So those waves that are curving that light, or that light that is curving that shadow, translated in mass or in experiences and events, when we connect with that light, then we're molding the very same shadow. And how do we? Well, now one of the updates that I have been receiving, which has always been there, the thing is that the level of consciousness and awareness wasn't there yet, at least not collectively speaking, or a considerable amount of beings already ready to bring in the plasma sphere, which is the sphere of truth, and which is the one that is held in every cube, like the inner cube and the cubes, as the matrix says, that were anchored all over the earth.
Yeah, this is what brings to mind. It's really interesting because last week I took my mother to watch the most recent movie on Julian Assange, WikiLeaks.
I haven't heard about it, but okay.
And I went because I'm kind of aware of the background story, but I didn't have the details, and I thought I'd go watch it, and I took my mum along. And my mom is nearly 80. She's of a generation that's been programmed intensely by mainstream media, newspapers, radio, television. There's always a TV or radio going on in the house, or both. And sitting through that movie with her, watching it defrag her system and open her blinkers, was extraordinary. I had to just pause and have a integration chat with my mum afterwards, because no matter what my sister and I had explained to her, it hadn't got through the barrier. But whether it's timing, I believe at the stage on the planet and humanity's awakening is supportive. But sitting with my mum through that movie and watching it, it's changed her perception of reality at age 80. And that is exciting for me. Not just personally, but collectively, for that movie to break through the illusion that everything is as it is because it's not, is quite something.
Oh, then you can later tell me what's the name you say?
The name of the movie?
Yes.
You know, it was really interesting because there weren't many people watching it at all. And I was like, wow. So let me have a look.
Yeah. Because this kind of movies come very handy. And they are.
The movie is called The Trust Fall.
The Trust Fall. Okay.
The Trust Fall, Julian Assange or Assange. It's pronounced both ways when they speak.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's on in mainstream media, mainstream movie theaters.
Okay.
And I'm excited for the impact it's having on my mother as a microcosm of the macrocosm of a generation that was being programmed and indoctrinated since the beginning.
Well, I don't know if you watch Dunes. I'm not much of a movie watcher, but this, caught my attention. And it's like the second part. And it talks, like after apocalypse. So this kind of movies that are or even I don't know if it's after apocalypse because I didn't watch the first one, but it's like living in Earth and in other planets and like having all this um uh form of like all this form of adapting to different species coming from other worlds and so bottom line, speaking about the cubes, there is one scene or several of them where these major key figures are priestess and are all covered in black, and they have this big cube over their heads. And like they were the ones running the information like that was contained there. Of course, they don't say that they are running the information coming from the cube, but that was a matriarchy. So they were holding that information. And now that I say that, it reminds me of how Jewish people, like, well, not for being Jewish, but that are into that religious part, and that they pray, that they are holders of the Hebrew wisdom. They have a cube in their foreheads, not fully forehead, but it's the point in between the neurocortex, well, covering all neurocortex actually, but it's like just in between the forehead and the first where the hair starts. They're gonna be half and half, and they are aligned to where the Kaaba is, at least in original direction, but then again, the Kaaba is not where it should be. So if you ask if it's aligned to the Kaaba, but the thing is that where the original Kaaba was, that's in Jordan. So anyway, they are praying and they have a black cube here. So and that's just one thing, because even they have 7 rounds in their hand and in their forehand with a lace made of black leather. So everything is encoded 7 rounds, 7 cubes. And yeah, all this information is coming out. What shall we do? You mentioned sovereignty. Well, sovereignty is being at least related to this, and from my perception, from a unified consciousness, is embracing the information that those beings, those ancient cultures, and the word arises, is to recognize that information within, those codes related to Hyperborea from Antarctica, from the Mayans might have those water sages. From all the ones that are unfolding, the ones in Hawaii, Mu, you know, like all those cubes that I will be mentioning as it corresponds, because it's, yeah. So anyway, because then again, if not, other consciousnesses can take advantage of that situation, of such primordial information arising, for us to say, hey, we're occupying our space, we are energy generators, okay, I'm embracing my full energy, you know, and making something about it in coherence to my highest evolutive purpose. So that's very important. And I know that we will be doing even deeper labor together, because stronger and stronger things are happening and will be happening. I'm not saying good, I'm not saying bad, I'm just saying energetically wise, it's normal. We're going through a shift, big shift. So energy amplifies. And what are we doing today with this energy? And yeah, one big call that we have been talking about is about Theia, you know. Theia, actually on the 27th of May, Nibiru, this famous planet known for the Anuna, is coming back to the solar system, I mean, close enough to the sun. And the Hitaro is happening, which is when the Earth's Merkaba activates at its full potential. So these are days to be aware that this is happening, to do something about it. And also to take that wave, that tide, that high tide, to connect with Theia's plates. And how everything started with these blue devices is the calling of the consciousness of Tiamat as the consciousness of the earth, to give that spark of life to Gaia, and to give the strength to Tiamat, to Theia as a consciousness, to lift up her 7 pieces and bring them together, so that the primordial feminine can have all their pieces together. You know, it's not like we are in pieces. No, I must clarify. But in relation to the moon, the lunar frequency. Here.
As you've spoken that, I've noticed, because I don't experience myself separate from the planetary field, I just noticed an amplification of the toroidal field of the planetary body in preparation for that event on 27th of May. It's literally the golden toroidal field, as I see it, just got amplified and strengthened in preparation to receive the information that will come in at that time. So that's happening on a personal and planetary level right now. And it just kind of did what I'm getting the words, a course correct in that.
I will say, I'm sorry to interrupt, but as you were saying this, I was trying to bind my hair through, you know, like this, and it broke, you know, like precisely what you're talking about, you know.
Yeah.
Like it split. It didn't broke. It extended what exactly that represents, you know. It's like opening up to a new cycle.
Yeah, opening up to a new cycle and new potential, that's simply dissolving what isn't true to that frequency. And it's really interesting because we're working with building the website and undercarriage for Earthwalk Global as a fully functioning New Earth business. at the new Earth frequency and at the new Earth architecture, physically and energetically. And since the eclipse, we've experienced a lot more interference. And when we were working with this yesterday, as doing the housework, basically, required to birth that, and we were looking at why it was such a target. And because to build this, it simply dismantles the old effortlessly. And it's happening through vibrational frequency. So far, our projects has extended 2 months longer than expected. And now we've realized what we're actually pioneering the pathways for, of structuring business in toroidal fields rather than pyramids, so that they may have source at center and be a continually regenerating system that expands and distributes evenly throughout the whole field, and can interact with others who are operating that way. It's been a fascinating process of learning and discovery, really, and adventure and frustration and everything in between. But there's an excitement there of being really pioneers of the engaging the potential that's now available to us, personally, collectively, planetary.
Yes. Yes, it is. And I agree. I agree. It excites me. It is, we're rewriting the story.
Yeah, that new creation story is in process. Yeah.
Exactly. And I feel so honored and humble because we have all this support and also all this responsibility to take us very serious and our power and deliver in coherence to that. So yeah, it's beautiful. And as you said, it's not it's like experiencing it as wholeness, experiencing the full spectrum of light, all the colors, with the ones that you prefer the most, the ones that you tried to keep aside, that you accepted them, but they were like not the favorite ones, to say it somehow. But they are also beautiful and necessary, and those are the ones that are empowering and generating that opportunity for us to acknowledge our level of power, and what are we going to do with that power. And then it's the full rainbow. So it's beautiful. It's beautiful. And it's what better way to remember?
Yeah.
Right.
And it's really interesting using the word responsibility. This is why the personal work is so important, because until we've done the work, the responsibility is like a cross to bear. And once you've done the work, responsibility becomes simply the ability to respond. So can we be whole and present in this moment, knowing that we have the ability to respond to whatever arises? And it creates spaciousness.
That's divinity as well.
Yeah.
Business. Nice. Nice. Well, actually, for me, what we are doing and how we are capable to rewrite the story is because we have been so committed to ourselves. We have access to that space that molds the reality. Yes. Yes. So
yeah, and that enhances the responsibility really for every thought, word, and action, because to be tapped into creation, we are creating at every moment. So really important what we're choosing to create. Yeah.
yes. Yes. And the connection of the heart. It's so important. Like it has always been so important. Nevertheless, right now, like even in the high heart, they're located the immune system. So however you look at it, for convenience or for, you know, like utopic, dreaming, whatever, the heart is very important to support us through this evolution, because it's the one that restores us, our wholeness, into and as the axis, you know? So
Yeah. And there's something else I felt to share with you, because I'm still feeling, tracking, researching for this Antarctica journey in the beginning of 2025. And I got really excited because I thought I found the journey. And it begins actually in Hobart, in Tasmania, at the bottom of Australia, goes down to Antarctica, around Antarctica, and up into Africa. And I was so excited because I was just like, here's the link between Uluru, Antarctica, and the work that will unfold in Africa, through the South Africa, all the way up to Egypt in 2025. And then I found out, that trip is not until the beginning of 2026. So I'm like, now I'm just playing with it because I'm still getting as a timeline, beginning of 2025. But yet that is the route that is most synergistic for and coherent with the work. And so this journey between Uluru, Antarctica, and Africa continues to, I guess, reveal itself. Yeah.
exactly, you said it precisely, until it reveals itself, you know. Yeah, that's the way that the nature functions in order to preserve life. When life is ready to blossom, it manifests, you know, on its own. So yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Yes.
is there anything, I was going to say, important, major, or magical that you feel to share from your recent journey in Egypt while we have this time together?
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you for your question. Well, yeah, there are many things arose, and like there were a lot of there was a lot of presence of the galactic community in the sky through specific clouds, you know, like um heart-shaped clouds. But I'm not saying like, oh yeah, I see a heart, which can happen, you know. No, it was like this hive shaped cloud going from like big dimensions, big proportions, you know, like if you're watching at a hive there in the sky, you know, covered in clouds, and resembling a heart just next to the pyramid. They're also pyramidal, but like upside down pyramids facing and matching other pyramids that we went to, you know, like while we were doing things. Also, the first day that Sean and I arrived there, um, it rained. And the second day before leaving, it rained again. So the second day arriving, it rained, and the second day before leaving, it rained as well. What else? A lot of things were happening worldwide related to water. There was these huge tests to bring in love and stay in love and stay in love and stay in love. there was a lot of presence of consciousness of Mu, generating the conciliating in between one another, you know, like Atlantis and Mu, you know, coming together. There was a huge breakthrough of those, which led us to focus more in this spiritual science, you know, and open up to all these techniques, this ancient high tech. From quite related, like anchoring it all or restoring its anchorage to the to Akhenaten's knowledge. It wasn't his, it was what he was transmitting, and that then he went to specific islands to bring all that knowledge to the druids, and which formerly later would be the Celts, you know, like the connection again with the nature, you know. And then again, like the cherry on the pie, now that I can remember, because there were a lot of happenings throughout the whole journey. The cherry on the pie was that day that we were in the pyramid. Just after we finished our work there, the solar luminescence dropped onto 0.1 in a unit, which represent, or which means that it's like the sun would have shut down, which means that what I was telling you, how I perceive it, that you have something booming and booming and booming, and it's going speeding up, speeding up, speeding up, and then it's going to torsion. So it's like, and then that point represents the 0.1 units that the sun dropped, and then it's zoom, 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 zoom to generate all that shift that is happening. And yeah, so, and it's quite related also to the matrix, to the Maha matrix. And this is something that we started also when Sean was here in Mexico, and the beautiful tribe that came. And then it's also, this is a sequence to that new stage of what happened. And also the group in Spanish speakers that where we are doing so far for 407 days, that doing everyday algorithms related to all the time systems, all the calendars, bringing all those numbers together, which are algorithms. By this I mean they one algorithm for the Gregorian calendar would be today, which is 4.27.2024. You know, that's an algorithm that anchors to the day that the Gregorian calendar is on. Well, that with all the different calendars and many more other things, energetically bringing them together, and because that is, it might sound very simple, but it has a huge work behind. Like what I feel honored to have been doing in order to translate those set of numbers, those algorithms, has been beautiful. And now it also translated in what happened, because that's through torsion, the time, and using the solar frequency and the moon frequency. So
yeah, it's exciting. We've basically gone to 0 point. We've gone through the reset. So we actually have a responsibility to ourselves, humanity and our planet now, to sync ourselves with the source of creation, through the lunar calendars, the solar calendars, and the galactic calendars.
Yes.
So that we can set a new trajectory for the evolution of humanity. And as we do that, we are supported in the seen and unseen realms. Even the day of our last Guardians of Gaia gathering, on the moment of opening our field and harmonizing our group around the planet, we had 4 solar flares from the sun, literally a quadruple solar flares that came through. And it's just like, wow, we're getting the opportunity to once again engage consciously with creation as creators. And it's exciting. The potential is infinite. And our ability to imagine and to listen will determine the outcome of that.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Every time that what's going to happen, we are choosing.
Yeah.
For our actions, we are choosing our actions.
So welcome to Earth School, the University of Duality on the only planet of choice. And I'm so grateful that I've met you here and that we get to share these journeys together.
Likewise.
Thank you so much, my dear. And thank you for everyone who felt called to share our Sunday mornings and Saturday afternoon tea journey across Mama Pacifica from Mexico to Aotearoa.
Bye.
Thank you all for your service, and we look forward to meeting you again sometime in cyberspace.
For sure.